The Brownlow medalist in the house. Hello, Adam.
Hello. I've been told that you either talk too loud or I'm too soft. So I'm going mic right up to mouth today. I haven't been projecting my views loudly enough.
You know
what? My Richmond fans,
yes,
they've been very complimentary of me. I think I've won a few of them back after my staunch defence of them last week.
Well, funnily enough, over the last 7 days, I've lost two sets of fan bases, the Bulldogs and Port Adelaide, for the exact same reason. Both are calling me Muppet or a Muppet, which is correct.
Yeah, you were getting abused heavily on the
for suggesting. So the Western Bulldogs fans are refusing to believe that Zach Butters will be anywhere else. It's a signed deal. And then in another statement where I was actually complimentary of Port Adelaide, the Port Adelaide fans are whacking me for suggesting that Zach Butters is in fact staying. So he's signed at two different clubs, Zach Butters, according to their fan bases.
There might be a few more that need his signature as well after the weekend with some midfield woes at a couple of the bigger teams in the competition.
Hey, I want to start talking about projection and exposure. There was a game on the weekend that most certainly didn't get a great deal of eyeballs, and I don't think the conversation's been anywhere enough. That's where I want to start. Hawks
Anzac
and the
Day.
Suns. Yes, on Anzac Day. But I think the early start down in Tassie took a couple of people by surprise, and we missed a couple of big things. And I'm going to start with the Hawks because the Suns most certainly has been the story on the back of it. But let's start with Hawthorn. I would suggest to you, Adam, that Hawthorn have the biggest collective of high IQ players in the entire AFL.
Let's go through them then. So
Jack Gunston's the most intelligent forward in the league.
Well, it's hard to argue against that because of the age that he is and what he's been through and the successes that he's had. How he's able to just find space inside 50 is absolutely phenomenal. It is beyond me how he keeps doing it. He beats every defender. He gets in, he ducks in and around him. He manages to nudge them out in contests, and he doesn't have the biggest frame.
No,
but he's so smart in the way that he reads the drop of the ball and the flight of the ball, and his leading patterns are just better than just anyone in the competition.
Jai Newcomb.
Jai Newcomb's just a good, solid, smart midfielder.
Exactly. Who plays well in finals, right?
Yes. Yeah, big game.
There's that. Yep. Okay. Blake Hardwick.
What makes Blake so intelligent? Cameron?
Incredibly. In fact, their entire their best backline in the league. That's not a question. It's a statement. Like Barras, Battle, Sicily didn't even play on the weekend due to suspension, where him and Dylan Moore hit the same dude. And then Hardwick, who hasn't been getting anywhere near the plaudits he should, he'll be right there in an All-Australian blazer by the end of the year.
Well, then you got the guinea pig.
Incredibly intelligent. Nick
the
Watson, incredibly intelligent. Mitch Lewis is getting better each and every week. My man.
Watch him not get a gig for the rest of the year now that you've mentioned that.
Well, two of the men that we mentioned who didn't play, Dylan Moore, highly intelligent.
And old Sizzle Lift Moore.
James Sicily, very intelligent.
On field,
occasionally. Funnily enough, though, we've touched on this. He got belted in the opening round by Ash, right? And then since the news came out, he's been incredible. He's been incredible. So,
and they've probably got the most intelligent coach in the competition as well to go with that. Maybe he's teaching them to be smart.
They play their footy like Sam Mitchell played his footy. Very, very collected, very calm. But when he makes a decision, it actually works. They're so efficient with the football. Like they can hurt you in different ways. Now, the question is Will Day the cream on the top? And I'm knocking because I think everybody desperately wants to see him get a good run at it.
Yeah.
But I think Hawthorn, who played great footy for 3.5 quarters on Saturday, and they've won 6 in a row, probably, for people who did watch that game, will understand that they most certainly deserve to be at the top of the premiership contending tree with Sydney and Brisbane.
Well, there's no doubt. So the forward line's functioning really well, and you need your big key forwards to play well in September. But more important is you have to have your two key defenders playing well in September as well. And I mean the way that Battle plays with Barras, they've got such a great connection already. And then you throw Sicily in there who can intercept and also pretty damaging going back the other way. Like the nucleus there at either end is going to be really important for them. Plus, X factor, the mids have stepped up with Day out. Warple leaves and they looked a little bit thin in their pre-season. McDonald, can go up in the midfield. Mackenzie has been good. D'Ambrosio is starting to put together some really good footy now on the outside. So Their wingers are playing good footy. Inside mids are getting the job done, and they're really set at either end of the ground. And what have they won 6 in a row?
They've won 6 in a row.
Along with Freo, and it's starting to become a bit of a gap between the best now, the contenders and the pretenders.
The way they do it as well is it's a different player each and every week. Now, Gunston gets more shots on goal than anyone in recent memory in the AFL. I seen the stat over the weekend where he's having a shot and a half more per game at goal than Jeremy Cameron did last year.
Yeah.
So they'll manage him in the back end of the year. The suggestion he could kick 100 is probably unrealistic because I think we get to the back end of the year, they'll be a top 4 team vying for top 2, and they're not going to say, Jack, it's all about, and he'll be all about the flag. So the 100 is unrealistic with him.
No chance.
Only because they'll manage him.
No.
Not because of the way he plays his footy.
Well, he's getting, he had 9 shots on the weekend. He just sort of cruises around. What they've done really well is give him, most of the 50 to himself at times. Like they dump out and let him be that isolated key forward. So he does get a really good look at it. But because he just times, as you mentioned, he just times everything so well. He knows when to duck in and around and lose his defender, and he does it better, and they hit him up really well. Like their connection between mid and forward is the best in the comp at the
That's
moment.
because Ginnivan and Watson and Moore play that. The role that Murphy Reid plays is the role. They have 3 guys who, like Ginnivan's almost a wingman currently.
Yep.
Wizard probably plays a little deeper, and Dylan Moore has gone deeper. He has an All-Australian on his resume after that wonderful 24 season, and then when asked to play a little bit of a different role last year, which he did well in the back end of the year. So They've got outstanding users inside 50. And the only question really for Hawthorn is Chol their second ruckman. Do they squeeze Chol back in and then he's their second guy? Do they go with the 2 ruckmen they did on the weekend? I think that's probably the only question right now about Hawthorn. But ironically, if Zach Merritt had have ended up at the Hawks, the narrative and the commentary right now would be, how did Essendon just allow Hawthorn? We hate the Hawks.
Yeah.
Just hand over for only 3 first-rounders. That's where we would sit right now because they'd be the premiership favourites, no doubt.
Yeah, well,
they might be anyway.
You're splitting hairs there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But it just goes to show, at the moment, how important the small forward role is in the competition. Like, it is almost more important than your best inside mid. If you have a look at the way that they're playing, have a look at Murphy Reid, the way that he's playing, that connection from midfielder to forward and those entries, you got to have good users who are getting the ball at half forward 20 to 25 times a game and kicking them inside 50. So Ginnivan's doing it really well. The Wiz comes up. You mentioned that, Dylan Moore. So their high forwards up, even Connor McDonald to a lesser extent. And then you've got Murphy Reid at Fremantle. If you have a look, just pivoting to what is happening at Geelong now.
Oh.
So there's a few issues with Geelong at the moment, but I think we probably have underestimated how important Brian Myers is as a player for the Cats. Now, we know that he is elite by foot and he's basically an extra mid, but his link play from the Cats, it separates Holmes and Smith, who are just hard running. Holmes has got the speed, Smith's your hard running, breaks you down by metres gained and just getting the footy. But we've underestimated how good Brian Myers is because Manor is out of form. He's not getting it done, and Close is out of form, which left Myers to be the only one getting it done as that high half forward. That's gone now, and they look a completely different team with him out of it.
So much offense is generated in footy now by slingshot footy from the halfback. Okay, so you can have halfbacks, and Holmes has gone back there in the last couple of weeks, in particular the previous 2 weeks. But it's not get it in the middle and just barrel it inside 50. You need someone to be able to stand up and deliver it. This Myers situation is intriguing because it's an ACL. He doesn't have a huge amount of pain from all reports. He doesn't have a huge amount of discomfort. So they're working on rehabbing and empowering it up a little bit. Surgery doesn't seem to be an option, or hasn't at least been discussed too much externally. No doubt it has been internally. But there is a real sense that Brian Myers is going to play his football sometime relatively soon. Now, the fact that Tyson Stengel isn't there is another incredibly high-class player who's not inside 50, who uses his smarts. Yep. And when you don't have those players inside 50, then you need to then try and fold people back, which then takes them away from their normal role, which then it hurts you on the collective, which where Geelong kind of sit right about now. I will say, I don't think anybody did see what happened at Adelaide Oval on Saturday coming. I know blitz sales went down relatively early, but they were...
Edwards got injured as well, so two were there.
Jeez, they were belted in the midfield. Like, belted.
Yep.
Like Bailey Smith gets a lot of it. Holmes gets a lot of it. I understand that. And I love those two footballers. But Butters, Horn, Francis were so far and away the two best midfielders on the ground. And you don't see that too often from Geelong.
So they only had 28 clearances on the night. I think they had 35 inside 50s for the whole evening. So they it was just one of those days where they were completely off and Port couldn't have been sharper. But now you've got to start having a conversation about Jason Horne-Francis.
Well, we'll get back to the Suns then in a moment. I just want to, watching this, so they're in the Zach Butters conversation, Geelong, okay? So I'm not worried about Geelong going forward because they find a way to just continually be good, all right? But from 2026, they are just that smidge off. They're struggling with the ruckman. It's clearly Reece Stanley time. The Stengel situation's playing out a bit more publicly now, but he was in the rooms after the game on the weekend, which is traditionally a good sign. He's spent a lot of time in South Australia with, I think it's his daughter, so there's family reasons, so that adds to it. The Myers situation we touched on. Corey Durden did one of the best jobs I've seen on Tom Stewart as well, which is something you don't traditionally see, and you've been calling it for a while. But I'm watching that game, and I'm like, Geelong really needs Zach Butters.
Another mid with speed. Well, I mean, every team needs Zach Butters.
That is cool. That is true.
But the element he adds is completely different to the other mid who rolls through there. So Smith, we just spoke about. Holmes, we just spoke about. Then you've got the next layer, which is Tanner Bruin.
Yeah.
Jai Clark.
So Bruin's had a really good year considering he missed a year of footy.
Yeah.
Clark's up in the air at the moment, although he's had some concussion issues.
Yeah, and they've got some other guys that float sort of through there at times. Close. We mentioned close.
What's Mark O'Connor's role? I couldn't believe they didn't double tag on Saturday with O'Connor back in. They got O'Connor and Mullen, so they got two taggers. They've used it in that final last year in Brisbane to great effect. I was really surprised.
Well, O'Connor plays his best footy when he runs around as a defensive player.
So if he's not tagging, if he doesn't have an actual role, is he in their best 23?
Maybe just some outside wing, sort of half back. I'm not sure he should be in the midfield rotation, but yeah, I mean, it's a good shout. Every team needs a Zach Butters, but maybe it does help Geelong stay in that window for an extra year or two. I'm a bit worried about them behind the ball as well.
Go on.
I mean, the key defensive posts. Connor O'Sullivan he's only young. He's only 20 years old.
Couple of games
he's got to play out of his weight division every week as well. They're sort of struggling for dominant key backs, and it's been a team job. And Tom Stewart has managed so many times to be that extra guy that they generate behind the footy. We know that the Cats like to sit back at times and generate those spares behind it, and then go from there. But at the moment, it's just looking just a little bit off.
De Koning hasn't become the star that he was threatening to become. So he's a very good. I'm not saying he's having a horrible season.
Yeah.
But when he burst onto the scene and played really well in that grand final, we thought, hang on a second, this guy could end up being or very quickly become one of the best key defenders in the game. Now, he is still absolutely young and he could still develop into that exact situation, but he hasn't exactly just ripped the joint apart.
Yeah, but he can't. He's never going to be strong enough to take on the big key forward.
You don't think so?
His best position would be having two lockdown key defenders.
So he's a third man.
And him being the third, where he can come in and intercept and read the ball in the air. Like to lock down that spot as a key defender. He's just like his body size. He's a bit like Mac Andrew. Like really athletic, but
he's a better defender than Mac Andrew.
You'd be susceptible,
possibly, but he's a better
in those defensive one-on-one contests.
He's a better defender than Mac Andrew.
Yeah, I think Mac Andrew's a ruck / wing. I think he'll play the majority of his best footy.
I'm with you there. The thing with Butters as well, because we talk about that slingshot footy. Who is it at Geelong now?
Who's slinging?
Yeah.
Well, there's only two real players that are breaking the lines.
So if they were able to get
Bailey Smith isn't kicking the ball well.
No, he's not.
Recently.
But it's still a net positive. If you bring Bailey Smith and Smith's there, and Butters goes in, and then you just leave Max Holmes as that half backer, which he uses the ball so particularly well. Like getting it's one thing, being able to hit a target is a whole nother thing, and he does it almost as well as anyone in the league. So if they all of a sudden had the situation put him behind the ball, and then they had Butters and Smith in the middle, and that's where you centered your midfield, they become very dangerous quickly. So hence I'm not worried about Geelong, although I do have a fair bit of skepticism in this particular year.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get there this year. Although, I mean, we shouldn't never say that
Ever.
about Geelong because they have made us look and feel stupid in the
Mhm.
past. So, but it just feels like, they're just labouring a little bit with some players out of form that haven't been out of form for a very long time. And yeah, ball use has been a bit of an issue. I mean, Ollie Dempsey, his year last year was absolutely phenomenal. Just not quite getting the looks, and I think teams may have worked out a little bit what to do with him at the moment. Like he does go deep forward and almost stands on the goal line at times, and if the ball doesn't get in there, the winger can almost the opposition winger is almost just staying out a little bit, and they can get him on the counter attack. Which is happening.
And it's certainly not cheating, but he has the trust in the Geelong mids to be on top of most other teams. So when he's able to go early, he busts his backside and you can't catch him. Because they got belted on the weekend, he was going the other way, or he was inching particularly towards goals. And Port Adelaide what did you say, 28 clearances for the game. If they're going to have that, Ollie Dempsey in the way, not just that he plays, but they structure up, he most certainly isn't going to be anywhere near as effective.
Yeah, 35 inside 50s. Yeah. I mean, then as a winger, if you're not getting in there, and Ollie Dempsey's, half rolling the dice, loves to get forward, then you get exposed going back the other way if it's not going in there.
So just watching that game again in Tassie, the Hawks and the Suns, I think Gold Coast are still going to be okay. They're going to sort it out. They're going to be better. They were good for about 30 minutes. There was a interesting 50-metre penalty, which has dominated the headlines, that really slowed down their. Barras kicked a goal, and then Gunston kicked a goal, and then it was nearly 4 goals at three-quarter time, and it ended. And they gave up. I'm not going to say gave up, but most certainly the arse fell out of it in the fourth quarter. But it just reminded me, Adam, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Watching them right now reminds me of the 2007 Bulldogs, okay? And there's actually an interesting similarity around these two clubs. So in 2006, you win a final.
Yep.
You beat the Pies.
Correct.
You travel to the West. There was a bit of optimism. They pulled your pants down.
Yeah.
Now,
they struggled to pull my pants down after halftime because I had my jeans on ready to hit the nightclub. That's what Rocket said to me after the game. He sprayed me. He said, "You had your jeans on at halftime ready to go out. You gave up."
How close was it on the money?
Yeah, well, to be fair, Cuzzy put my belt on for me as well and took me out after the game.
So you got belted by the team that won the flag. Last year, Gold Coast win a final, get belted by Brisbane, who go on to win the flag. Round 1 the following year, there's a huge amount of hype around the Bulldogs, huge amount of hype around the Gold Coast Suns. In opening round this year, do you remember who the Gold Coast Suns beat?
No.
Geelong. Belted them. Do you remember who you beat in round 1 of 07?
I can't even remember who the Suns beat in round
Geelong,
1 this year.
Right? And all of a sudden, you're both premiership favourites.
Oh, you've gone with a bit of a...
And then all hell breaks loose. Now, you didn't recover the Bulldogs.
Well, we didn't recover from a round 1 loss.
No, you won in round 1.
Oh, okay.
You won round 1, and then you just fell.
And the season fell apart.
Apart.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I remember the season. I remember there was high expectations after 2006, and we expected to be top 4, and it just nothing clicked in 2007. And then after that season, Rocket sat us down. We had a team meeting, and they said to us, "We can't officially do this because you guys need your 8 weeks off a year, but if you all sign this document, we're going to start pre-season on October the 15th, which was 2 weeks after the grand final." So he said, "Look, we can't force you to do it, but I would strongly suggest that you sign this document so we can start pre-season on October the 15th. And then we still had our footy trip booked in. We went to Hong Kong, and most of the senior players came along on that trip because we were starting.
Did anyone not sign?
No, everyone would have signed.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't sign, then
you traded.
Yeah, then basically you're out the door. So we go to Hong Kong, and because it was so close to the start of pre-season, we had to bring training equipment to Hong Kong with us on footy trip. So we all wake up in the morning and we were doing boxing sessions and cross-training sessions in the middle of our footy trip, getting ready to start pre-season.
So you started your pre-season essentially in Hong Kong?
We started our pre-season in... I can forget the name of the hotel, but we were literally doing sessions by the pool, boxing sessions by the pool, drinking strawberry daiquiris.
And it led to you winning a Brownlow and the team going so close to a grand final.
Well, we started early, so we were pretty fit.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of time to get unfit. So we watched the grand final, went on footy trip, came back and started pre-season. So, look, it did work for us for that year.
This is a big month for the Suns because they feel a level below currently. And when I talk about the Gold Coast Suns, I'm talking about in relative terms to a premiership. Not have they improved? Are they a team that might make a final? Can they win a final? I'm talking about where they were hyped to have a real crack at this thing. And I still think at some point they'll play much better footy than they are right now. But they play the Giants this weekend at home.
Yep.
They didn't go to Darwin for 2 straight weeks against the Saints and Port. And that home ground advantage in Darwin has been undeniable in recent years. And then they play North at Marvel. They've got a chance to get their groove back. Now, if they don't,
Well, they win all 4 of those.
they should. They absolutely should. But we thought that about Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, and Melbourne absolutely belted them.
Yeah, well, like the issues about the Gold Coast Suns are, one, they're not defending very well. Like, they're getting scores put on them.
Yeah.
Like, the teams regularly scoring 100 against them. So their team defense is right off. And also their midfield. What's going on with their mids?
Well,
Like, what sort of year is Anderson having?
Well-
What sort of year is Rao having?
well, Rao.
Petrarca's been good.
so
So, give him a massive tick.
Talk to me about chemistry of midfield, okay? So Petrarca comes in and then goes out, comes back in. Bailey Humphrey has missed some time as well. Rao started late. So we haven't seen probably the right mix. I'm talking Rao, Anderson, and Petrarca in particular. How important and how long does it take to build some chemistry, even though they're all stars?
Well, you wouldn't think too long because they are all at the elite
Mm.
level. So, like, you should be able to get that together in a preseason. This is only one guy coming into the midfield. This
Yeah.
is not a new coach coming in and developing a game plan that's going to take a couple of years. The chemistry should be easy because they all know how to play. You all know where to run, and you know they know how to use each other. They're just not. I mean, Rao, you can give the excuse or the reason why he's not playing his best is because he's underdone. You can't play your best footy now unless you've had a full preseason. So, I mean, there's a couple of players that have been the exception to that. Jason Don-Francis, the way that the numbers that he's putting up at the moment is really incredible considering, he's coming off a limited preseason. But it does take, and you're not going to see Matty Rao at his best probably until the back half of the year. But, gee, they're just sort of ticking along at the moment. Even the ruck situation, I mean, Jared
Witts hasn't had a great year.
He's been a terrific ruck for them, but he's not having a great year either. So, in terms of ruck and midfield is what is letting them down at the moment with a bit of team defense, and they're just not ruthless enough the way that they're trying to shut teams down and getting scores put against them regularly.
Should change with Damien Hardwick, who knows what it takes, and it seems like a fairly
Well, he's going to have to earn his
intense,
money
hard coach,
over
right.
the next 8 weeks. But, yeah, they do have a pretty decent run
It's a
coming up.
big month.
So, yeah, we'll give them a small clip now, but in 4 weeks' time, they should get their game going.
I assume you watched the Swans this week?
I did watch the Swans
All right.
this week.
Go on.
And I'll tell you, they looked okay.
Oh,
I mean, you're telling me that but they're playing a second-string Bulldogs side. What I will say is, if I was watching the Sydney Swans...
I know you don't watch them, so let me just explain something to you. Their two best players, and they are deep, but their 2 best players are Isaac Heaney and Errol Gordon, neither who played on Thursday night. So just keep that in mind. But go on.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I will keep that in mind. So if I was watching them play for the first time, and the way
from what you've said in the past,
the way that you've pumped them
almost
up this
right.
year, like, geez, they play slick, and they play fast brand of footy, and they just cut teams up. Well, they were okay. If I was watching it for the first, I would say they're a pretty good team. It's lucky they've got the 2 best forwards in the competition in Joel Amartey and Charlie Curnow down there. Like, have they been playing like that every week? Or?
Hang on. So who was missing from the Dogs midfield?
No, I'm not talking about the midfield.
No, well, this is the point, right?
In defence.
Yeah.
Well, Bont was on one leg and played pretty well.
Well, I'll get to him in a minute.
Libba was out.
Yeah.
Ed Richards is coming back from an injury.
I am interested
He's not 100.
to digress from your stupidity around the Swans for a moment. I am interested to see how the Bulldogs approach the next 4 or 5 weeks because Ed Richards is trying his guts out, but is clearly hampered with that knee. And it might actually hurt his ability to be able to kick the ball as well as he traditionally does.
Second string dog side.
Bont, absolutely one of the best games you'll see in a loss. Like, could barely go. He's on one leg at 29 touches, kicked 2 goals.
How
and
did
then
he do that?
I don't know. And then the whole joint is just, when the Aaron Norton situation happened, the entire joint is just quiet. And you're like, geez, how are you going to sort of do?
No wonder.
Bont kicks one from the 4th row from 45 and just sort of tries to spark him up, which didn't quite work that much. So, look, the Dogs, absolutely. I've never seen this happen so quickly in professional sport where they've gone from, hey, we can have a real crack at this thing to, we stuffed.
Well, they're tough because
Injuries.
they were already light on in defence coming in this year. Like, that was the big question mark about the Dogs.
Yeah.
One was team defence.
Jeez, I tell you what.
And two was key defenders.
Let me just point this out. Bulldogs fans, judging from the feedback I got from last week, do not like Jacob Wiedering. Got no interest in him.
Oh, well,
Which makes me think you haven't quite watched Carlton.
well, but that probably was an exclamation mark on your point. So and then, the more key defenders get injured, and look what happened. We made Joel Amati look like Buddy Franklin.
But and I mean this legitimately, because when people were arguing over the weekend, but they were missing Lobb, they were missing O'Donnell, which is absolutely, they are better defenders than the defenders they had to roll out on a weekend due to injury. But neither of those two guys are a hardcore key defender, and not in the top 10 key defenders. Neither of those guys in the league.
No, they're not.
But
they're. I think O'Donnell is getting better every week that he plays.
But is he going to be a key defender?
I think he will. Yeah,
Okay.
I think he'll be able to lock down a key defensive
Okay.
post. I'm not sure. What there was a bit of feedback on the comments about Buslinger. How did you see him on the weekend? Well,
unfortunately,
it's a tough week for him to come in.
A really tough week because Curnow and Amati and the midfield got beaten, in particular with the way that Sydney used the ball. But, I mean, people have been pushing him up and I mean this, we sit on the outside and make comment on teams and players who should or shouldn't play, right? Luke Beveridge and the coaching staff see him every week. Like, every day they see him. Okay, so and not just him specifically, when somebody says, Johnny Smith, how is he not getting a game? Well, I'll tell you how he's not getting a game, because the coaching staff actually understand perfectly how that guy is going and whether or not he fits into that team. And unfortunately,
You'd hope so.
that's why guys don't get games. Okay, now as fans, we might see someone do something in the VFL, and we're like, this guy has to play. But unfortunately, he got an opportunity in a tough spot Thursday night, and probably suggest that if they had their full complement, that he's not going to play anytime soon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, not when
Now,
everyone's fit.
Again, he's a kid and he's trying to develop, but what is he, 3 or 4 years into this now? So
a quick shout out to Buku Kamas, who has been good since going back. Oh, you're not happy with Buku's progress?
I mean, you know what? Again, if he was the third defender, right?
Which is what he's going to be.
Well,
that's who he is. He's not gonna play as a key defender. He's the third.
Yeah,
and he'll be a really good.
But they don't have
defender.
2 key defenders in front of him, so he's not. He's technically not, because Lobb and O'Donnell aren't hardcore key position players.
Do you reckon Buku should ask for a trade?
Well, he did, and he got told no.
I know.
I think the thing with Garmas is I think
I don't know what there were there.
His athletic trait
suitors
Carlton, and I mean that was clearly wrapped around the Callum Wilkie situation, and the Dogs know they need that key defender because they had that real crack at Callum Wilkie last year. So it is what it is. It's frustrating if you're a Dogs fan, because 3 weeks ago, legitimately, they had a little crack. Now it depends on if you thought that their defensive stocks could hold up for the entirety of 30 weeks or not, but they were definitely going to be there playing a fun style of football. And
so you feel vindicated in your chat?
I don't feel
Jacob
I actually don't feel vindicated because there was no Lobb and O'Donnell. Okay, so that argument people can use. I just don't sit here and suggest that Lobb and O'Donnell are absolute key post defenders if your midfield gets beaten, which they do.
But is Wiedering still your guy when there's other? So someone threw up Jordan Butts in the comments this week. I mean, he's a free agent. And it's going to be much cheaper and much easier to bring him across.
Who's had a real good start to the year. But you know where Jordan Butts plays his best football?
On the goal line.
On Darcy.
Well, matching will be good for him.
Practice will be good. Yeah, and I mean, that's fine. But again, Jordan Butts is 2 tiers below Jacob Wiedering, but I understand it. I just want to go back to Sydney.
Again?
Well, you gave them nothing, and then we digressed, which you like because you hate Sydney.
I said they're pretty good.
They're good?
They looked all right, and they got the 2 best key forwards in the competition.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Hey, we've got a new destination club. Melbourne.
That's premature.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win a flag in the next 2 years, but they play an incredibly fun style of football. They take the game on. They play at the MCG. When you are a free agent or you're looking for a trade or they're trying to entice someone to come to your football club, last year, with the way they play their footy and things going on behind the scenes and everything that was reported, if you're trying to convince a free agent or someone who might be looking for a fresh start or someone who might be homesick and wants to come home to Melbourne, it's a little harder. Now, when you put out this type of performances and you play that style of footy, and the way they deal with their superstar, the way they dealt with Cozzy Pickett, going up to see his daughter right before a game, comes back in great shape, ready to go. Stephen King has been continually, as a player and a coach, exposed to the way that coaches and their star players interact, and a little bit of here and a little bit there. And I think that was on display with Cozzy Pickett. It is a really good sell. It's a really good sell if you're trying to get a high-profile, very good footballer to your club.
So Stephen King is the new Chris Scott. So he's learnt everything off of him and the way to treat your players and the relationships that you build. So the trust is there. Well, I mean, it's a free hit at the moment for him. So I'd want another 12-month sample size of it. The other thing is, if you're the destination club, you'd want to be filling out the MCG more often than what they do. And you've got to look at facilities as well. So the destination club thing is, if you have a look at some of the other clubs in the competition, some of the facilities that they've got, if you're tossing up, and like Collingwood or Melbourne. So on field, in another 12 months, if the Dees are playing the exact same style of footy, then yes, 100%. But it's probably a little bit too premature because you can see the spike that, and most teams get this, a spike when a new coach comes in because the pressure's not on the coach yet. It's the freedom to be able to play. What happens to every coach after 2 or 3 seasons? They get grumpy, they get angry, they get defensive, and then they start to go more defensive with the way that they coach because it can't last forever. Look at what's happening with Adam Uze at the moment. You get a couple of free hits in first 2 seasons, and then the pressure starts to mount a little bit, and then you start getting grumpier, you start getting angrier, and you start getting defensive with the way that you play. So I think if you can't call Melbourne a destination club yet until they've got the $30 million facility on their own, until they get 80,000 at their big games, and until they start to turn that corner and play finals. The
80,000, the facilities granted, but the 80,000 MCG is something.
They don't even have their own gym.
It's something you can pitch. Well, you used to spar in the same. Relax in a spar is the same one that Teddy Whitten used back in the 50s.
We
So
used to get the blue light out just before. And
so
clean it off.
I understand. I understand the facilities. The 80. See, you don't need to actually do it when it comes to the 80,000. You can sell it that we're about to go to that next level, and the crowds will come. So the MCG is a huge draw card in that respect. The way they play their footy, you were right. They're going to have to just tweak things as they get a little deeper into their evolution. But Hawthorn...
they can't play like that every week for the next 5 years.
But that's what Hawthorn did at the start. Okay, so Hawthorn, Sam Mitchell said, we're going to play this type of footy at different times. We're going to get beaten. We don't have the personnel yet to be able to really contend with the best. And sometimes teams might just go punter and belters, which is what Fremantle did, a month or so ago against Melbourne.
Yep.
But Stephen King clearly sees the trend of footy and the way that it has to be played. Now, not to suggest they're going to play this freelance house money football for forever and take them to a flag, but it's enough to be able to have a conversation where you get into the room when it comes to pitching. And that's when I talk about a destination club and the next one becoming them.
Yep.
That's what I believe, because everything that's coming out of that club right now is just roses.
Yeah.
And look, they've nailed it. This is the big thing. They've nailed their recent drafts. Okay, in 23,
that's what you got to do.
In 23, they got Windsor at 7 and Throlstrup at 13.
Yeah.
Okay, so Throlstrup, who was probably...
Well, 12 months ago,
exactly
50-50. The jury was out.
Agreed.
Those two were winners.
Now Stephen King's found Throlstrup a really good role. Langford at 6.
Yep.
Lindsay at 11 in 24.
Again, the last year, the jury was out on those two until sort of this season.
But I guess the jury is because these type of guys, they play the type of freewheeling footy that Stephen King plays compared to, say, Simon Goodwin, who is sort of in that, and that's probably the house money conversation, right?
Yeah.
And then they got Taylor, who's only played a couple of games now, but looks decent, and Latrell Pickett, who's played all 7 and has looked really fun. And they've got 2 first-rounders this year, one that is linked to the Gold Coast Suns with Christian Petrarca. So if the Gold Coast Suns do continue to struggle a bit, that's going to be interesting as well, which then leads you to be able to get deeper into a conversation around trading for players, because 2 first-rounders is something that a lot of clubs don't have.
Oh, I mean, I think they go to the draft again this year.
Probably,
and keep loading up on young talent because it's working for them at the moment, and that's clearly the path that they've gone down. Get rid of some of the older premiership stars, which I mean, arguably could have gone 2 or 3 years ago, and they'd be further along in their development. But yeah, I love what they've done. I love what they've pulled the trigger. They made the big decisions, and if you've got 2 first rounders this year, and if you're in the top 10, then keep that. But maybe they could trade up.
Will they play a final?
Yeah, I think they could ride the momentum long enough to make wildcard weekend. Yeah, I would be very nervous putting a pineapple on them next year to make the finals.
You think they'll go backwards?
No, well, every team, this spike can't last forever.
You know why it can?
If Stephen King stays the same,
I'm not
for
worried.
Another season, then maybe
I'm not concerned about Stephen King. I think they're going to play a style of football. Now, it might hurt them at different times against the best, but they will beat the teams they have to beat, right? But Cozzy Pickett's a what? Top 5, top 6 player in the league?
Higher.
Okay. And?
Cozzy Pickett might be the best player in the competition at the moment.
Okay. And they got Max Gawn, who is the best ruckman?
Yep. Another year of Max Gawn. I mean, we've probably said that about Pendlebury.
See? We'll get to Pendles shortly. I don't want to spend too much time on umpiring in the arc, but I've just lost full confidence in technology. In sport, Adam.
Yeah.
Not just in AFL. In sport. I was at that game, St Kilda West Coast, and no one had any bloody idea what was going on. And no one was up in arms when the Rowan Marshall situation got bobbled and they called it a behind. And the goal umpire, who traditionally, because technology has made everyone lazier, traditionally the goal umpires are, I don't know.
Yeah, they're getting a bit aggressive.
But the goal umpire was like behind, backed themselves in, and everyone's like, oh, let's move on. Now, I know it was a belting and they win by 100 points, so this isn't a final deep in September. But to get to the wing and then call it back with technology and a system with the arc that no one trusts, even in the job they're continually trying to do in the goal review, I'm over it. Technology in sport can get in the bin.
You know what I want? I want an ISO cam on the arc when they make the decision. So I want a camera because it gets sent to everything gets sent to Marvel Stadium. So if there's an arc decision at Optus Stadium,
the arc is at Marvel.
The arc is in a little bunker at Marvel, so it goes back there. I want a camera in the corner of the room and watch them all shit themselves when they've got this big decision to make, like the Griffin Logue one. Yes. How on earth does that one get cleared so that was the most definitive vision of that was the last frame that they showed.
Yeah, it was.
And by the time that they showed the frame, the umpire's just about balling the thing up.
Hang on. If they can go back to if the game's in play and it's at the wing and they can call it all the way back and waste 33 seconds to override a behind being called and give Rowan Marshall a shot at goal, which he then kicked, surely, even though the ball's about to get thrown up, they can stop the play and say, nah, we stuffed up. Now,
they should have.
There's 2 major concerns with that. There's no way the TV network, which was Fox in this particular case, I think.
Yep.
There's no way in the world they should have vision that the arc don't.
Well,
no way in the world. And if the arc had that vision that we did see on the TV.
Are you telling me they didn't have the vision?
Well, I don't know.
Sure, of course they would have got the exact same.
Then how did they not bring it back?
Well, that's a great question.
So I'm starting to think they don't have this.
They have to have.
I know.
They have to have. Well, who's looking at that going? That finger has bent back.
That's
but
my
I'm not
point.
sure if it was. Was that the air?
I'm starting to think they didn't look at the angle.
Well, they had to have.
But then if they did, how did they miss it?
But we all saw it. We saw it on the TV.
I agree.
I saw it before they threw the ball up.
We saw the TV. We saw the TV vision.
How are they getting?
We don't know what the arc vision is.
How are they possibly getting different vision?
I don't know.
They've got their own cameras.
I don't know. I'm just saying that there's no way in the world somebody could look at that and say, nah, leave it as a goal. In a close game, that game, that decision was tenfold the St Kilda situation because
they lost by a goal.
They lost by 10, 11 points.
Can we get hotspot in? Like, because does hotspot would show the.
But how would hotspot
the finger heating up?
Yeah, but what? So where does the hotspot work on the footy?
Well, it's just everything's hot.
I don't know.
And if it clips,
haven't we had hotspot on the goal before?
You know the technology that generally does work is the dead heat on the line in horse racing.
It does never wrong.
That's
never miss it. Never miss it.
I
just think that if we do not have confidence in technology, we shouldn't use it. And the AFL can say we get 94% of it right.
There's
That's
too
fine.
there's too many cameras that like on the feed now to be able to show it anyway. If the umpire does get it wrong, we're going to talk about it during the week anyway.
Yeah, but that's something that's accepted. We accepted it for 150 odd years that umpires make mistakes every now and then.
Did they have the arc in 1854?
They 1896. It was a semi-final between Melbourne University and Fitzroy. Love it or shove it, Tom. Are you ready? I'm not even going to talk about the stand rule because I'm going to allow it to unfold. The stand rule works. The umpiring interpretations around it doesn't. But we'll give it a couple more weeks.
Where's me?
You ready for this?
Where's me sheet here?
Love it or shove it. We are currently seeing 3 club goats playing right now. Greatest of all time at particular clubs. Pendles at the Pies, Bont at the Dogs, and Toby Greene at the Giants.
Well,
Love it or shove it.
I'll definitely love one.
All right,
I'll
go on.
definitely love Toby Greene.
Okay.
He's the main man
Yeah.
at the Giants.
So he's in front of Jeremy Cameron.
One club player. Jeremy
Okay.
defected and went to the Cats.
So it's either Bont or Ted Whitten.
Gee.
Now, last year, Ted was crowned.
Ted was number 1,
He
wasn't
was.
Where was I again?
You were number
I was
26.
26, wasn't I? The
Yeah,
top
so
25 most
they
influential.
invited the top 25 to the dinner. I think you just missed.
Oh, look, I have to go with. I'm going to stick with Ted.
So you're shoving the actual statement.
I'll have to. I have to because I've disagreed with 2 of them. I think Ted overall the aura. Marcus Bontempelli has probably surpassed him and what he's done on the field. But you got to count for aura as well.
I don't disagree.
And until they knock down Ted out the front and put Marcus there,
Well, why
Ted stays the man.
Why can't they just put Bont next to Ted? I don't know if they need to knock
No, it doesn't.
one
You
studio
only
down.
get one figurehead. And I mean, does Bontempelli use the spar as regularly as Ted Whitten? All those things.
There's
you've
no
got
way
to
in the
do.
world it's still that brick spar. And you don't believe Pendles is the greatest pie of all time?
No, I'm going to concede that Pendles is the best pie of all
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Now Gordon Coventry and Bucks are 2 of those players who are on that periphery. Now,
Gordon Coventry.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
But he held a lot of goal kicking records for a long time.
How many Anzac Day medals has Gordon got, though?
Well, Anzac, the game didn't specifically. This Pendles breaking the record is such an interesting situation, okay? So he's 2 games away from it, okay? He's on 430. He's 1 behind Boomer. He's 2 away from breaking it, okay? The wrinkle about what we're about to touch on, Adam, is that they need Pendles to play their best footy. Now, I know Nick Dacos didn't play against Brisbane. They got belted. But Scott Pendlebury didn't play either. Anytime he rolls into a clearance, they need to know where he is, okay? So they're better with him. We agree?
Yes,
Okay.
we do agree.
Tell me what they do here. They play Hawks off a 5-day break on Thursday, where the general consensus is that he won't back it up.
Yeah. So where does he need to play to break the record?
Well, his preference...
And is it that
His preference is to do it at the MCG, and I have no doubt the club's preference is to do it at the MCG.
And is the big celebration when you equal the record
No,
or when you break
when
the
you
record?
break it.
But do you?
I would say break it.
But is there a celebration when you equal the record as well?
Not to the level of breaking it.
Oh, so what if he gets injured?
Why would you do that? But why?
I'm just throwing the
No, why?
hypothetical out there.
Now, for people who
then-
used to watch the Channel 7 version of this show, you used to curse everyone.
I'm knocking
Why
wood.
would you do this?
That's me knocking the wood
It better be.
that's me knocking wood under the table. Yeah, well,
So breaking the
Breaking.
equaling it, huge. Breaking it, historically incredible.
okay, so we don't celebrate the equal. We
Oh,
celebrate.
we'll celebrate it with a pat on the back, but he'll get carried
Well,
off. by
what
the
I would
entire
do. So
job.
I think earlier in the season they played him limited minutes.
Here's the 4. Here's the 4 games. Hawks 5-day break.
Yeah.
Then they play the Cats at the MCG, but it's a Geelong home game. But I don't think that really matters, to be brutally honest. Swans at the SCG is no chance, albeit they need Pendles to play that game to give them a better chance of competing with the Sydney Swans, who are really good. And then they play the Eagles at the MCG.
Bit of a downer, isn't it?
It's
that
a
one?
twilight game on a Saturday,
Oh,
and it's on Fox Footy,
in junk time.
and he's a Channel 7 employee.
So he's going to play. He's going to break it in junk time against the Eagles at the G in front of probably. Well, they'll all come. All the Pies supporters will get there.
So it'll be 95,000 at the G, right? Regardless. But I mean, people.
It's going to be 95,000 at the G.
Are you serious? You don't think there'll be 95,000 fans?
No.
Oh, Adam.
If there's 95,000, I'll do a Dan Gorridge and get a Scott Pendlebury tattoo on.
Done. Done. Go on. Oh, well, give me a number.
We're not young man media. We're not quite old man media.
We're in
What
between.
We're sort of middle-aged
Irrelevant
male. We're middle-aged male media.
Yeah, spend too much money on a stupid car.
I need to think of something.
Crisis. Well, give me a number then.
Something else.
If you think 95,000 is unrealistic for Scotty Pendlebury, who plays for the biggest club in the country, when he breaks the game's record that'll never be broken ever again.
86,420. Max. I'll think of my own punishment as well if that gets done. So I'd play him 50 to 60% game time off the 5-day break, and then just see how he's feeling after that, and then rest him against Sydney.
Okay, done. Now I know that I mentioned Fox. Like, would that play into it at all? The 4:40 Fox Twilight game.
Well, it's not ideal. Who do they play the next week? Maybe.
I don't know, but
hold him over.
But the issue with that is
you can't keep not playing him. Though.
You can't keep not playing him because they need him to play to be at their best as a team.
Yeah, and it's not all about him.
No, it's not.
The bigger picture is that Collingwood have got to make the finals.
It is true, but it is all about him because he's doing something that will never be done ever again.
So it'll get broken.
No,
with the advances in modern medicine, there's injections now where you can put it in your leg and it fixes your cartilage, regrows your cartilage straight away,
or shove it.
They'll all be robots.
Love it or shove it. Port should be favourites for the Showdown this Friday night.
Shove.
Okay.
I like the way they played on the weekend, but the Crows overall better team, more experience, well drilled, and have lost. To teams around the mark with them.
Okay. I will say this. The betting right now, a little chicken on the bone. The Crows are $1.50 and Port at $2.60. Ridiculous. That is a ridiculous head-to-head. Right? Port have been way better than the Crows the last 2 weeks. Way better. Okay?
Yeah.
5-day break and travel for the Crows. Got to come back from Brisbane Sunday to Friday.
Crows have had a bit on the last couple of weeks.
They absolutely have. Absolutely. Way more important than football. But I'll tell you what, the power mids will belt the Crows mids.
2 of them will.
Horn, Francis, and Butters just go absolute nuts.
Both, yeah. Well,
I'm not saying they should be favourite. I'm saying it should be an even, $1.90 a piece. Like, it's a 50-50 game Friday night. I'm going.
You're going?
Going over, yeah. Never been to a showdown. I'm going over.
Holy hell. No, I think the Crows deserve to be favourites in this one. But yeah,
Okay.
$2.60. There is a little bit of chicken nibbling on that.
Love it or shove it. The 2019 AFL draft should be considered a super draft. Here we go. Rowell 1, Anderson 2, Jackson 3, Ash 4, Hayden Young 7, Caleb Sarong 8, Tom Green 10, Cozzy Pickett 12, Will Day 13, Miles Bergman 14, Mitch Georgiades 18, Sam DeConing 19, Josh Worrell 28, Kitty Coleman 37, Chad Warner 39, Michael Frederick 61. So we've got Brownlow medalists, we've got club captains, we've got premiership players, we have got a Fremantle list that is almost built entirely around this draft, albeit they didn't draft Luke Jackson originally. Love it or shove it. This is a super draft.
Yeah, it is. Cheerio to Dylan Stevens and Fisher Mackesy, who just skimmed over there at picks 5 and 6.
I know.
Come on, Dylan had a pretty good day yesterday. Not sure what Fish Dog is up to.
He did. But
these days.
You know what? That lends itself to only strengthening my argument because Dylan Stevens is a player who's going to help North Melbourne, albeit they didn't trade him at that particular time.
Pretty decent pick up Josh Worrell at 28 and the Chat at 39.
Now, I've got to point out that I didn't mention Sam Flanders at 11, who's played some good footy and working into it.
Yep.
Cody Waitman hasn't played for 2 years, but is an integral part of that Dogs team if they get going.
Georgiades.
Nice. This is incredible. This draft.
Cozzy at 12 is the best pick of the lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. And if Will Day gets going, touch wood.
Cozzy win the Brownlow this year?
Yeah, he can. He can. And you know what I do like? I don't know if this is going to play out this way, but with the umpires now getting the stats, okay, we can now hopefully say, yeah, that player can play it. Like, Cozzy Pickett couldn't win it last year because he predominantly, now he's playing more midfield time currently. Can Luke Jackson win the Brownlow?
No, he probably doesn't have enough votes so far.
But it's ridiculous.
You got to get on a run.
You get to the end of the year. We get to the end of September. You reckon Cosy Pickett might be the best player in the comp. Luke Jackson might be the most prominent best player playing.
Did he? Who got the medal? He didn't get it, did he? Oh, they gave it to Shea
No,
Bolton.
they gave the Bolton.
Do you reckon Bolton or
Luke Jackson was the best player on the
might
game.
get the 3 votes in that.
Well,
game.
I again, not that it matters anything, but
You're a Shea Bolton guy, though.
I love Bolton. But Luke Jackson, come the end of the year, will be considered the best player in the game.
Oh.
Because he will be playing deep into September. Dacos won't be. Bont won't be. Pickett won't be. Butters won't be. So the conversation will be about Jackson or Heaney because they will be playing in 2 teams in the Final 4 and maybe on the last Saturday in September.
Well, that's when you elevate your status, a la 1D Martin.
Now, before we get to your All-Australian mids, I want to try and get a little sensitivity from you. So Thursday night was the 10-year premiership reunion.
Yep.
From that flag. And the Dogs, from all reports, did a really good job. It wasn't just a senior AFL premiership. They also won the VFL premiership that year. So the entire club was included in celebrating it 10 years on.
What about the one man who helped them get there more than most?
And this is why. Now, I know you say tongue-in-cheek, but I am always interested what your feelings are when you see those type of celebrations and it's reminded of a flag that you missed out on a couple of years.
Anger.
Legitimate?
Bitterness.
Legit?
No.
Like, what do you feel? Like, honestly.
I didn't feel
Nothing?
anything.
You don't?
No, I texted a couple of boys and who looked like they were enjoying themselves, and I said, "Get stuck into it."
Yeah,
lads."
okay.
I didn't hear from any of them until the next morning. They all wrote back, "Yeah, battling today."
So I know you're a laconic, look on the bright side, life dude, but like without you putting your hand up and going to Peter Gordon, correct? Was it Gordon or was it Smorgan? Who was in control there?
Peter.
It was Peter Gordon.
Yeah.
Without you going there, there's no Luke Beveridge at that club. Ryan Griffin doesn't do it, so there's no Boyd.
Well, it was collective. It was a collective.
So did you go in together?
I started.
Okay, so that's the thing. The entire club changed. I know you again. You mask it really well, and I don't know if you have any bitterness or not. Hence why I'm asking you.
Mate, it was 10 years ago.
But
I had bitterness.
And then you had to do a lap.
Yeah.
Then you did a lap on the back of the Toyota.
Yep.
On grand final day, while the entire joint was in red, white, and blue.
Well, there was some bitterness there.
Yeah.
I wasn't wrapped that I was in the back of the Hilux and they were on the green stuff. But, yeah, I mean, I'm over it now.
Yeah, you really?
Yeah.
Wait, was there a time that you weren't over it?
Yeah, a few years there.
Yeah.
And when there was a couple of years at Essendon and then probably a few years even after I retired, I was angry about the whole situation and how it worked out. But you move on.
Good.
You grow up. There's other things in my life. I mean, I cut grass on a Thursday. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you cut grass. They won a flag on grass. There's similarities. Hey, the All-Australian mids. Last week you did the forward line.
Yep.
Now
I've got to take care of the mids this week.
Yeah. For people who may not be aware of this, you are not an All-Australian midfielder.
I am.
No, you're
I'm
not.
an All-Australian winger.
You're
That's
a
in the
wingman.
midfield. That's in the midfield. Hey, I've gone with one genuine winger, Justin McInerney.
Who?
Is that his name, Justin?
Who's he play for?
He's Sydney Swans.
Oh, mate.
His number.
He is an All-Australian, by the way, but I'm surprised you know who he is.
I have seen him play enough
I appreciate
this year
that.
to put him in there. So
okay.
He's on a wing. I've got Max Gawn in the ruck. What, over Luke Jackson? You know?
All right. Nah, J-Mac, all right.
Okay.
On a wing.
You've got to dethrone the great man first.
So I think there could be. I know that no one will argue this and say that I'm right. Legitimately, we could have 3 ruckmen. Well, Luke Jackson can play as a ruck rover. You have
2.
Grundy on the bench and you have Max Gawn in control.
I think Jackson will be on the bench. And I think Maximus will take the first bounce in the All-Australian team that plays nobody.
Do they bounce it in the All-Australian game?
They can do whatever they want.
J-Mac?
J-Mac's in there. The other wing I had, this is a bit, I'm cheating a bit.
Of course you are.
I've got Bailey on the other wing. No, he plays a bit more outside. So he's in there. Cozzy is starting mid. And then I've got Nicholas Dacos in there with Zachariah Butters. And the stiffest player in the competition is Marcus Bondavelli.
No, it's not.
He's on the Pine.
No, well, where's Isaac Heaney?
Where is he? When's he going to play again?
So you haven't got right now, if you were on the All-Australian committee, you would be able to argue that Isaac Heaney is not in the All-Australian team.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to
Mate.
do what they all do.
Oh,
Half forward flank.
We didn't have him last week.
Half forward.
You did the forwards last week. You didn't have him.
No, well, he will work his way into the half forward flank on All Australian night because that's what they do. They're cowardly. Instead of leaving out one of the premier mids, one of the highest working half forwards in the competition is out. And
I agree.
Just throw a midfielder in there.
I absolutely agree with everything you just said outside of Isaac.
You should have to pick them to positions.
No, I agree. I agree.
Wingers don't get the credit that they deserve.
But you just won over the Harbour City and Dean Cox, who you beat in a ruck contest once.
J-Max in.
Yeah, we're starting to... Oh, J-Max in. He does watch our games. And you leave Isaac Heaney out.
No, Heaney's in. He's just in a different position.
Okay.
Put him in the back pocket. Who cares?
Now, you have done something extraordinary when it comes to the round 8 game rankings. You've just said stuff to...
I've lost them.
So the Bombers and the Lions, the Eagles and the Tigers, the Cats and the Roos and the Blues and the Saints.
No, I don't even get a look.
You do not want a bar of it.
No.
So we're down to the top 5 games Adam Gooney cares about this weekend.
Because there's 4 irrelevant games every week that we don't even need to talk about. The Dogs and the Dockers I've got at 5.
What is the most intriguing thing about that game?
If the Dockers can just punish them and just put them away from home. So they've won 6 in a row, but they don't put teams to the sword.
They don't.
That's the only probably question mark about the Dockers at the moment. Can they be ruthless enough and win by 8 goals plus?
You know when they put a team to the sword? Last year in round 24 when they had that mini elimination game against the Dogs and they went bang.
And they might do the same.
Yeah, they might.
Again, at 4, I've got the Suns and the Giants.
I know you call the Giants Kangaroos game for radio. Are you impressed with the Giants, or were you more impressed yesterday with the Giants, or where do you sit on them?
I was pretty impressed with North Melbourne.
Okay.
Actually, they play well at Canberra. They got a host of their stars back GWS yesterday, and North just kept hanging in there. So they've turned the corner, I think. I mean, in the past, they probably get done by 6 to 8 goals in that game after GWS got a run on. But, I mean, they're starting to get their game going again. I thought Stringer was electric forward of the ball. Half-back, Lockie Whitfield and Lockie Ash, they just ran right and they got their game going. Toby Greene in the midfield was pretty reasonable really as well. So Jesse Hogan just a little bit out of touch still. So
you know what Jake Stringer's got to do at the end of the year? Sign a contract.
Is he out still at the moment?
Out of contract.
Or GWS, don't sign him yet.
What do you got at number 3?
Number 3, we've got the Showdown.
Have you been to a Showdown? I noticed.
No.
No.
I've never been to a
Me
Showdown.
neither. I've got to go over for work on Saturday, so I'm going a day earlier to take it all in.
Well, we've spoken about who's going to win that. It'll be the Crows, but I'm looking forward to it. And Port Adelaide playing some nice footy.
They are.
Pretty entertaining. Number 2, Swans and the Dees. Who would have thought that leading into the season? A game 8 round rankings. Swans and Dees at 2. Yeah, we've pumped the Dees up enough. And we know, and I saw the Swans play last week. Number 1.
Makes me nervous. The Dees at the SCG. See how they handle it. I'm looking forward to it. Who's number 1?
Pies and the Hawks.
Yeah,
big game. 2 big clubs. And can the Pies find a little bit? So they took care, dismantled Essendon, who are trying to play fast footy at the moment, but they can't handball. They're the worst handballing team in the competition.
The worst handballing team in the competition.
Essendon. Can they get themselves in trouble? They just haven't worked out how to chain their way through and get out of trouble yet. They just over handball and invite pressure. They're a better kicking team, and they're not a very good kicking team.
Personnel or game structure?
I think when they try and play fast and they try and work their way through handball, the amount of times they cough up the footy is unbelievable. Whereas if they go into control and actually work the ball around with a bit more method, that's when they look their best. But you can't do that all the time because teams get back and defend and you find it really hard to score, particularly when you've got a developing key forward in Nate Caddy, who's pretty much a lone hand down there now that Peter Wright's in the ruck.
I want to give you a big shout because we've worked together for nearly a decade now, and you are up and down. Sometimes you're a bulldog, depending on the ladder. Sometimes you're a bomber. You're both stuffed at the moment.
Yeah,
so where are you sitting?
Well, I was a Carlton fan growing up, so yeah, not great options there. Maybe I can go to. I don't know where to go from here.
Maybe North Melbourne. You met with them.
Yeah, well, I could have gone to the Kangaroos. No, it's tough going at the moment being one of those supporters. So Maybe I'll defect to my SANFL team, West Adelaide, who I think may be bottom of the ladder in South Australia.
Armchair.experts. You can get whatever we do. You can watch it all as well on our YouTube channel as well, Armchair.experts. You can jump on there, check it all out. The entire show is on there. Let's do it next week, Adam.